and I've seen this quite frequently, and the tagline is women are not small men. So, other than the obvious fact that on average, you're right, women are smaller than men, but what is it trying to convey? And do you agree with what it's trying to convey? Take it away, either of you.
Okay, I will start us off and then I'll pass the baton to AP. But I understand the slogan and I believe it's true. It's definitely true. Women are not small men. I mean, physiologically, biologically, the whole nine yards, right? We are just not small men. There are a lot of differences, hormonal differences, anything else. That's my dog in the back, by the way.
I know. I was like, what the hell's
Um, and I mean, there are some historical biases in like the research, right? Like a lot of it's been done in men and kind of just like blanketed towards women. So the world is kind of moving towards, hey, let's not maybe use all of these recommendations that were only once tested in men to also kind of blanket statement and give women recommendations. And there's so much merit to that, and that's necessary. I think my issue with it is that people use it as a license to ignore just like core training principles and core training science. And they use it as like they weaponize it and they flip it and turn it to something that maybe it's not, and they use it to sell different training programs specific to women or supplements, like those like creatines that come in the pink bottles and whatnot, all that crazy stuff. Um, so they use it and they weaponize it. They make like training and nutrition for women so much more maybe complex than it needs to be. And there's a big difference between like what's optimal and what works. And the majority of women don't need maybe what's optimal. They just need to start with what works. And so I think it's true. It's definitely true. I mean, there's no I think that it is true. Women are not small men, but I think it depends how you take that tagline and then go use it.
a quick story. When we were in Italy for ISS in Italy, Sean Arendt and Michelle Arendt were going through the exhibit hall. And so no one knows. I mean, the Italians don't know who we are. So they went up to a booth that sold creatine, and he was explaining to Michelle Arendt how this is the female creatine. Yeah, so apparently there is female creatine and male creatine. So I
Oh.
just thought I would educate you on what's going on in Italy. So
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And yeah, see, that's like, I mean, women don't need everything completely tailored and different. We do need a decent amount of things, and there are ways to tailor it to better fit a female depending on their needs. And we might have some different needs at different times of the year, different times of the month, and different times of our like lifespan, whether we're, pregnant, not pregnant. Like there are definitely different needs that women have compared to men. We are different. We're not just small men, but um I do have an issue with it being weaponized and used to sell female specific things that we might not need, like cycle syncing or, all these crazy blanket statements that totally ignore just like our core training principles that we know apply to both males and females, and that the literature has explored for many, many years and shown us like, hey, the differences aren't large enough to warrant female specific training for all. Individual cases, absolutely, but not for all.
uh,
So,
great points. Alyssa, I want to bring up something that Antonella referred to in terms of obviously there are core principles of training that apply to everyone. I mean, if you want to
yeah.
become a faster runner, you got to run. If you want to get stronger, you got to lift. Um, you can address part of what Antonella said, but also address, and this is sort of the other tagline I hear a lot, particularly for perimenopausal women, you got to lift heavy shit. Meaning, if you don't lift heavy shit, it's not ideal or good. Comment on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it, goes back to one thing that Antonella mentioned where it's like, what are you going to do consistently? Or it might have been you that had mentioned that. Like, what are you going to actually perform consistently? And strength is on a continuum, especially if you're not familiar with strength training. You can improve strength just by having some sort of external load. So whether it's within that typical repetition range of 1 to 6 reps or more than that, if you're fresh into resistance training or strength training, you're going to see improvements in strength. Now, the more experience you get, if you're wanting to improve your maximal strength capacity, then yeah, maybe you want to become a little bit more specific as time goes on. But I think in terms of perimenopausal women or just women in general who are needing to improve just that neuromuscular skill or muscle hypertrophy so that we can avoid or mitigate sarcopenia, osteoporosis as the years go on, then just having some sort of formal, structured strength training. So I'm not too like hung up on it falling within these specific repetition ranges, as long as they are resistance training and they're doing so to some level of difficulty. Like I typically use like RPE whenever it comes to that population, because also most women who have not had much experience with resistance training, especially when you start getting into the midlife women, are not going to do a 1 rep max test so that you can really apply percentage-based training. So just having some level of difficulty, whether it be like an RPE of 7 to 8 or a reps in reserve of like a 2 to 3, I think you can achieve a lot of the benefits of strength training with a pretty broad scope.